Oh boy, Destiny 2. Let's look at the state of the game article, go through it and talk about it from someone's point of view who hasn't played Destiny 2 in over a year. I've uninstalled the game, I've deleted everything, and you know, I just want to just look at the game and see what kind of state it's in, because I've seen all the complaints in the community and I've basically seen everyone talking about and getting angry about the same things I spoke about over a year ago, and it's kind of funny to see that the community is in the place now where I was years ago. But I really do hope that the game gets better. I do. So we're going to look at this update and we're going to talk about it and go through it. But I already have a prediction. One of the biggest problems with the game for PvP is like there's no variety, the same maps all the time. I guarantee you, well, I don't guarantee it, but in this article there will be something about maps, and I reckon they'll only bring one new map, because I've done this before where they're like, oh, we're listening to the feedback, we hear everything, but here's one little tiny thing that we're bringing. So let's do it. State of the game, August 2023. This is just like an introduction thing, who cares? Addressing feedback. We've been tracking a number of player feedback items over the past few months, while we covered some issues recently, including the roadmap for improvements. I haven't seen that. It's time for a detailed check-in for our progress in several areas of the game. Ritual updates, I assume, is like all the stuff that you pick up. You know, you get a ritual weapon from the season off both Vanguard, Crucible, etc. Right, so regardless of the attitudes you like to play, we agree. We talk about so far we're doing season 22. With Season of the Deep, we've upgraded the weekly ritual challenge rewards to exotic engrams to give everyone consistent sources and materials to focus the exact exotic armor that they want to run. I don't know what's in the game now, but it sounds like you can pick and choose what your exotic armor is, which is cool. In Season 22, we're updating those weekly ritual challenge requirements so players can complete their 9 challenges in any ritual playlist they'd like. So they're just making it more accessible, as opposed to having to complete 3 across each. Okay, that's fair, because if you don't like playing Gambit because of how boring it is, you know, you can just go do it in Crucible or do it alongside what you're doing in Vanguard anyway. So that's a pretty cool update. We'll also be increasing the frequency of ritual engram drops after completing ritual activities, and we're making the latest ritual loot pool weapons focusable at their respective vendors at the start of the season for the first time, rather than needing to wait until the following season to chase those god rolls. So again, it sounds like they're just skirting around the issue by being like, oh, here's this thing that we've gatekept from you. Now you can have it. There's nothing actually new, but you can just have it this time instead of having to wait a month. That sounds a bit, the way they've worded that to me just sounds like they haven't really thought about what they're doing. They're just making things more accessible, which is kind of like a little trick to make people think like, oh, I can get all this stuff now, I can get all this stuff. But actually it's just the same old stuff, the same old rigmarole. There's nothing new, there's nothing unique, there's nothing different. Loading up our ritual vendors with fresh weapons, including, okay, let's just not bother reading all them. We're also bringing back some fan favourites back into our ritual playlist, including the Igneous Hammer Solar Hand Cannon in Trials, and revamping Warden's Law. So they're just adding a whole bunch of new weapons, and I guess they're not even new weapons, they're just reskinned weapons. So pretty much weapons that everybody already knows, but slightly different, I guess. And then obviously the returning weapons. So it doesn't look like they're doing like new things, it's just making more things of things that already exist in the game. Most people who play the game hardcore, this isn't going to matter to them, because they've probably got all of these things at the best possible role ever anyway. So it's weird, it's strange. Guardians versus Guardians PvP. I'm guessing this is the new map. Yeah, right. Thanks to the hard work of multiple teams, we've delivered several additions to PvP over the past few seasons. Well, apparently people are complaining about it, so you haven't really delivered a lot, have you? These include the launch of competitive, multiple new game modes, revamp trials, new competitive trials rewards, fire team matchmaking improvements, rotator playlists, blah 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 blah. All of these things that nobody ever gets hyper about, and pretty much everyone complains about these same things. So this obviously is them just being like, oh look, we've tried to do all this, but they haven't delivered, and it's your fault, not our fault, because we tried. That's kind of like what I read it as. The most frequent feedback we see is that there is not enough new PvP content, especially new maps. To set expectations, our studio structure is built to support more overarching updates to PvP like the ones above, rather than focusing exclusively on maps. When we do focus our resources on building new Crucible maps, it comes with the trade-off of multiple teams' bandwidth on work that continues to prioritize. Okay, so basically what they're saying is like everyone else is working on other parts of the game, which we find is more important. So we can't delve too much into PvP because we want to get the core newbie audience interested in like PvE and stuff. So yeah, okay. So they're saying that their PvP team works on the exotic mission content. I thought they had teams for each individual one, or did they just remove them all and move them on to different projects? That's what the problem is. That new game, all their PvP guys have gone onto that, and now they just can't do PvP stuff. Core activities that make up the foundation of each new season are new destinations. Similarly, bringing back reprise maps also involves extensive porting to the latest version of Destiny 2, which requires additional resources, blah, 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 blah. With that said, we have some exciting content coming for PvP this month that several teams have brought to life, as well as an update to our advances in game security to combat cheaters, so they're just getting rid of cheaters. Preview of sandbox shakeups, that's hard to say. More details coming for, say, they're not even like giving you everything here. They're like, oh, we'll talk about it in the future. I can't understand how people have played PvP in this game for so long and make it like their thing on like Twitch or whatever. Like, you guys have got some crazy determination. For season 22 with a new Vex network theme map. Yeah, okay, so it's one map, isn't it? It's going to be one map, isn't it? It is, it's one map. Oh my god. But you got a new game mode, Relic 6v6, which I'm pretty sure people won't care about. It's not going to be a good PvP mode. No one's going to play it, and then you've wasted all your resources building something that no one wants to play, instead of focusing on things that people want, which is new maps and variety and different things. But in terms of like day-to-day gaming, not just like a new mode, like what's already existing, making it interesting. Oh man, I don't think they'll ever learn. A new competitive ascendant division, okay, emblems, nobody cares about that. New map, okay, that's just about the new map. Checkmate is a modifier where rich primary weapon fights can happen more often. A gun skill can be augmented by communication and strong positioning. Primary weapon damage has been tuned to feel different than the rest of the game without being jarring, reducing the gap between the faster killing weapons and average time. Okay, what does this even mean? I can't be asked to read through that. So it's like a Crucible Labs game. It just makes primary weapons more important, I guess. Relic is a 6v6 party mode where seasons wreak havoc and destruction on their foes with relic weapons. Relics include the Aegis from the Vault of Glass. Oh, so it's just literally using the things that are in the game in terms of relic weapons and just letting people run around with them. So it's like a mayhem mode. It's not even anything that's competitive. It's just literally using things and messing around. Oh, it's so infuriating. I don't even play the game. I haven't even played the game in a whole year, but I read this and I'm like, what are you talking about? Relic weapons, so what? Why have you put so much effort into building a goddamn little party mode when you could have had brand new maps made? You could have made 3 new maps, and I reckon it'll probably be around about the same resources. I'm not a dev, so I don't know, but I reckon you could probably have invested in actually making the current PvP more interesting rather than just throwing cheap little gimmicks in. Matchmaking, yeah, that's fine. Look, if you've ever heard, we're planning to develop a new Iron Banner mode along with brand new... Why are you making a new Iron Banner mode? The concept of Iron Banner is get all 3 points and win and get tokens. That's fine. But if you introduce more interesting things like maps and, you know, I don't know, like new weapons for Crucible only, where it changes the meta of the game, then that's going to be more interesting than just a random new game mode that nobody's going to care about. Everyone's just going to be like, this is boring, it's crap, we don't want it, and they won't play it again, or they'll only play it when they absolutely have to. I can't understand their thought process. Vanguard playlists are currently a solid place with healthy population. Yeah, because there's nothing else to do in the game. Okay, so just Vanguard stuff. I don't even want to go through that because it's just Vanguard stuff. Nothing truly is going to change. Not really. Gambit though, ooh. As you may notice, we've been on the quiet about Gambit's last year's overhaul that launched alongside the Witch Queen. In that revamp, the team made significant changes across 5 categories. Blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, these updates didn't move the needle for player engagement. Yeah, because it's a boring game mode. It's a boring game mode that nobody enjoys at all. It was fun when it first came out, but the concept got very boring very quick. You need to kill it, get rid of it, and just invest more time into things like Crucible that people play on a daily basis. Although we know our Gambit fans mostly care about new or returning maps, this is an area of the game with lower engagement will take resources away from. Again, it's all about resources. It's not about, you know, making the best quality game or make things interesting. It's just about resources. While we don't have plans to dedicate more resources to significantly transform Gambit, we do have a few updates planned for this year. This includes porting the some maps. Oh my days. How pathetic. It's just them being like, we've give up on Destiny now. We don't care about Destiny, but we're going to keep it going because we know that people spend money on silver and microtransactions, and that's where all our resources are going to go to make the best armors to buy possible, instead of actually making the game fun to play and interesting. I feel sorry for people who are still playing this game every single day. It's disgusting. Armor set rewards. I've already lost interest, to be honest. At this time, we're amending our delivery plans. So this is what, just more armor sets. That's fine. Game security, no one gives a fuck about. Stability updates, whatever. Seasonal structure. As we mentioned back in February, we've been working behind the scenes to shake up seasonal paradigm this year to subvert player expectations and make each season feel unique. After what, 6 years? We know our players are looking for more variety and repeatable seasonal activities, and more than anything, we want to constantly surprise everyone with what's to come next in each season. Although we'll talk about a bit more about this below, we're giving ourselves more freedom to stretch narratively and in gameplay systems throughout 22 and 23. They don't actually say anything. It's just ridiculous. A preview of what's to come. Yeah, quality of life upgrades, cosmetic favoring. At long last, you'll be able to pin up to 100 of your favorite shaders, ornaments, and emotes. How has it taken this long to get a favoriting system into one of the most important parts of the game in terms of your guardian, or how you look? How has it taken this long to get a favoriting system? It's utterly unbelievable. Status aspects and fragments move to vendor system. Any character who has been completed, blah 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 blah. Okay, so they're just making little menu changes. Transmats will now be unlocks. Yeah, that's fine. I understand that. Wish Ender Pursuit improvements. Okay, yeah, alright. Okay. Just random little things. Iron Banner challenges split. Okay, that's fine, I get it. And then sandbox stuff. New strand aspects. I guess this will make it a little bit more interesting. Exotic armor reworks, yeah, definitely will make the game a little bit unique and different for a couple of weeks. New weapon subfamilies incoming. That's pretty cool, but it doesn't come to the final shape, which is what, early 2024. That's fine. That's fine as well, I guess, because that's going to introduce new metas and just different things into the game. It's going to freshen it up a little bit. Weapon tuning preview. Reduce the variance between optimal engagement ranges, so they're just making these a little bit better. Or worse, I guess, depending on how you look at it. Which they probably are going to make things worse, because every time they change things in this game, people will find something to complain about. I don't even want to read the rest of this. Like, I just don't. It's just, look at how much they've written, and I can tell you right now that if I read through all of this, they wouldn't actually say anything. It's just things that don't matter, but they're putting all this effort into it to try and convince their fans that they're actually doing something, that they're actually trying to improve the game, but they're not, because the things that people complain about the most, they don't care about. And one of the things, the most important thing in this game right now to improve and make perfect and better to engage players, is improve PvP. That's done by changing the meta, by introducing new weapons, fresh things that have never been seen before in terms of weapons and in-game stuff, and more maps. Throw 5 new maps in, and I guarantee you most PvP people will just be happy. They'll just be happy. And obviously some new weapons as well, because then that, people who are beast at the game can change it up and try different things instead of using the same weapon all the time. Oh my god. Bungie are just so frustrating. It is just so clear that they have just given up on the game, and they're just doing the absolute bare minimum to get by until they release their new game, and hope that blows up and takes off and everyone moves to that, and then they'll just go through this whole cycle again with that game as well. There's 2 things you do for this. You focus on the things that people really want, PvP, even Gambit. Forget all these exotic missions and stuff. Just put those exotic weapons that you got into the rewards, the seasonal rewards, into the when you go to Vanguard or Crucible and all that, and get those to be the exotic rewards. Insert those exotic rewards elsewhere. People are not going to be too upset if there's not an exotic mission for one season, but they are going to be upset when constantly nothing changes in the day-to-day engagement, which is PvP, potentially Gambit if it was any good. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated and haven't even played in over a year, so I don't know how other people are feeling. If I've misread any of this or I've missed something very important, let me know down below in the comments. But I can't force myself to read through it anymore because it's so clinically business-like instead of actually just personally dealing with the challenges that people have said they have with the game and fixing it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. I've been easynow. You guys have been awesome.